Good morning everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the morphology of flowering plants. So here the study of external characters is known as the morphology. So if you pull out a plant, you will find the root, stem, leaves, flowers, etc. Right. So here let us start with the root. Let us start with the root. How this root is developed? So here the root is developed from the radicle of embryo, or radicle of embryo. And if you take a dicot embryo, so this is the embryonal axis. This is the embryonal axis, and there is a tigellum. Tigellum. It is also known as cotyledonary node. To this cotyledonary node, so cotyledons are attached here. Cotyledons are attached here. This is a cotyledon and this is a cotyledon, right? So these cotyledons are attached to the tigellum, which is also known as cotyledonary node, And the portion above the cotyledon, is known as epicotyle. This part is known as the epicotyle, and the portion below the cotyledonary node is known as the hypocotyle. Epicotyle, hypocotyle. So here in the epicotyle region, this embryonal axis is covered by a part that is known as the plumule. And at the hypocotyle region, so the region which is present near the hypocotyle region is known as the radicle, so which is responsible for the growth of root. So from the radicle, root is developed, and from the plumule, shoot is developed, stem is developed, right? So here, if you look at into the structure of root, we will find primary roots, secondary roots. Okay, so here the first form roots are the primary roots, and the branches, it possesses several branches known as lateral roots or secondary roots. So they may possess tertiary roots also. So here we have three types of root systems in plants: taproot system, fibrous root system, adventitious root system. So here taproot system. So taproot system, here example given: mustard plant. In monocot plants, primary roots is short-lived and is replaced by large number of roots. These roots originate from the base of the stem and constitute the fibrous root system. So this is the fibrous root system in monocots. In dicots, taproot system is observed. In monocots, mostly fibrous root system is observed. So here the primary roots are short-lived, and here so many the primary roots are short-lived and replaced by large number of roots, and these roots are originate from the base of the stem. So base of the stem, these roots are originate from the base of the stem, and here that constitute the fibrous root system as seen in monocot plants such as wheat. Wheat is the best example, right? And in some plants like monstera, banyan tree, roots arise from parts of the plant other than the radicle and are called adventitious root system. In the adventitious root system, the roots are arised from other parts of the plant other than the radicle, known as the adventitious root system. So remember the examples for NEET point of view, right? So here adventitious roots example given, and so this one is a taproot system, this one is fibrous root system, and this one is a adventitious root system. Okay, then come to the regions of the root. root. So very important for objective NEET point of view or MCERT point of view. And here the root apex is covered by a thimble like structure known as a root cap. Okay, and here um, proximal to this root cap there is a region of meristematic activities is present, that is very important. The cells of this region are very small. The cells of the meristematic region are very small, right? And a dense protoplasm and a thin walled cells are small, thin walled, dense protoplasm, and cells actively repeatedly dividing. That means they divide repeatedly. Very important. So cells are small and thin walled, dense protoplasm, cells divide repeatedly. And proximal to this region of meristematic activity, next region is a region of elongation. So here this region undergo rapid elongation and enlargement are responsible for the growth of the root in length. So this region is responsible for the growth of the root in length. Growth of the root in length. And here the cells of this elongation zone gradually differentiate and mature. The cells of the elongation zone gradually differentiate and mature, and hence this zone proximal to the region of elongation is known as the region of maturation. So very important. From this region epidermal cells form root hair. And these root hairs are thread like structures and they are very fine and delicate, okay, called as root hairs. And the function of the root hairs is the root hairs absorb water and minerals from the soil. And here we have different types of modifications in the IPE syllabus. That is very important for 8 marks question. So what is the function of root? It mainly involve in the absorption of water and mineral from the soil. And in the state syllabus we have root modifications is mentioned, that is for a long answer. So we have different types of root modification. Now let us discuss about what are all the modifications. So what do you mean by root modification? So root modification is nothing but the root is modified to perform different functions other than their main function. Root modification. The root is modified to perform other function other than their main function is known as a root modification. And we have several root modifications like storage roots, prop roots, also called pillar roots, stilt roots, also called brace roots, breathing roots or respiratory roots, parasitic roots, also called as hostorial roots, or parasitic roots, and epiphytes, that is velamen roots, and nodular roots, and photosynthetic roots. Let us discuss one by one. So storage roots. So here, so roots are modified to store the food material. Roots are modified to store the food material. That is tap roots of carrot, tap roots of carrot, turnip, tap roots of carrot, turnip, and radish. These are some of the examples for storage roots. Here the root perform the storing of food material. That is the main function of storage roots. So tap roots of carrot, turnip, radish, and fibrous roots of asparagus and adventitious roots of sweet potato are some of the examples for the storage roots. And another root modification is a prop root. So these prop roots also called as a pillar roots. Prop roots also called as pillar root. So here we will find some hanging structures. Hanging structures of banyan tree, nothing but they are the prop roots. Hanging structures. So hanging structures. సో హ్యాంగింగ్ స్ట్రక్చర్స్ అంటే వేలాడుతున్నటువంటి వేర్లు అనమాట. మర్రి చెట్టుకు వేలాడుతున్నటువంటి వేర్లు హ్యాంగింగ్ స్ట్రక్చర్స్. సో దీస్ హ్యాంగింగ్ స్ట్రక్చర్స్ ప్రొవైడ్ ద సపోర్ట్ టు ద ప్లాంట్. Support to the plant. That is why these roots are also called as pillar roots. Examples: banyan tree. Next, stilt roots or brace roots. Stilt roots or brace roots. And here stilt roots or brace roots in monocots, in most of the monocots, this stilt roots or brace roots are observed. That is, they possess fibrous root system. So here, that is a large number of that means here primary roots are short lived and a large number of roots are replaced by fibrous many number of roots, and especially the roots are erased from the base of the stem. The roots are erased from the, that is the roots, these roots are originate from the base of the stem and constitute the fibrous root system. So here if you look at into the diagram of this stilt root or brace root, so here this is a maize, and here these are the nodes, and the space between the nodes is known as internodes, and these are the roots, fibrous roots. And here especially a large number of roots are arised from the lower node of the base of the stem, and these roots are called as a brace roots, which gives support to the plant, which provides support to the plant. So example, wheat and maize. Next, fourth, respiratory roots. These roots are also called as the breathing roots. Respiratory roots also called as the breathing roots. So here especially these roots are found, this type of root, respiratory roots are found in the mangrove forest, especially mangrove plants such as Rhizophora and Avicennia. Rhizophora and Avicennia are the best examples for the respiratory roots or breathing roots. And here the roots possess minute pores, and these pores are called as the pneumatophores. These pores are called as the pneumatophores. So here the another important feature of this respiratory roots is so they perform respiration, pneumatophores, and they get oxygen from the atmosphere and releases CO2. And pneumatophores are mainly uh, they involve in the exchange of gases. They involve in the exchange of gases, and usually the root, in general, root grows into the soil. That means it shows positive geotropism. But here, in contrary to its nature, uh, this Rhizophora and Avicennia plant grows in a upward direction vertically, that is towards the sky. In general, the root must grow into the soil. That means the root have to show positive geotropism, but here the root exhibit negative geotropism. Negative geotropism. That means root changes its direction and grows upwards vertically towards the sky, right? So examples for these respiratory roots, Rhizophora and Avicennia, especially we will find in the mangrove forests, right? So this is about the respiratory roots. Next, hostorial roots are parasitic roots. Next modification is hostorial roots are parasitic roots. So here parasitic means they depend on other plants for their nourishment. They depend on other plants for their nourishment. And hostorial roots are parasitic roots. Parasitic roots. So these plants absorb the nutrients from other plants. These plants absorb the nutrients from other plant. For example, Cuscuta, Viscum, Striga, Rafflesia. So these are some of the uh, parasitic plants, and these plants roots projected into the other plant root up to the xylem and phloem, and then it absorb the or it grab the nutrients from that other plant. So that is a hostorial or parasitic. Example, Cuscuta, Viscum, Striga, Rafflesia are some of the examples for these parasitic plants. Next, another one is the epiphytes. Epiphytes. So velamen, these roots are called as a velamen root. So here the plant which grow on other which grow upon other plant is known as the epiphytic plant. So here such roots are called as the velamen roots. They possess specialized roots called as velamen roots. They involve in the they absorb the moisture from atmosphere, and here such roots are called as a velamen roots. And best example for epiphytic plant is vanda. Next another example, next another modification is nodular roots, very important. So nodular roots, here these nodular roots are found in the Leguminaceae family members. That is if we take example groundnut, that is Arachis hypogaea. Groundnut, Arachis hypogaea, that is groundnut. And if we observe the roots of groundnut, and that possess root nodules, so which helps in the nitrogen fixation, these root nodules helps in the nitrogen fixation in soil, and they cannot alone fix the nitrogen, but with the help of the bacterium known as rhizobium. So here rhizobium bacteria lives in the roots of groundnut. That means it shows symbiotic association, and they fix the nitrogen in the soil, thereby the soil become fertile. Okay, right. Next, photosynthetic roots. The name indicates that the roots perform photosynthesis. Example, T. neophyllum is the best example for photosynthetic roots. These are the modifications of roots, which is important for IPE point of view, 8 marks question. So you have to write at least 5 to 6 modification in the examination. So storage roots, prop roots, stilt roots, respiratory roots, Pastoral, epiphytes, nodular, photosynthetic roots. Storage roots means they store the food materials, and prop roots or pillar roots provide the mechanical support to the plant. Stilt roots or brace roots, so they possess fibrous root system. They also involve in the supporting to the plant. And respiratory roots, they involve in the breathing or respiration. Pastoral or parasitic roots, they they get the food from other plants. And epiphytic or velamen, they leave plants which grow on other plant, and they absorb the moisture from atmosphere. And nodular roots, with the help of the rhizobium bacteria that lives in the roots, root nodules of groundnut and helps in the nitrogen fixation. Then photosynthetic roots, they perform the photosynthesis, example Taeniophyllum, right. So this is about the root modification. Now let us move to the topic stem. So here in the NCERT syllabus, all these modifications are not mentioned, but even though we have to read these some modifications for NEET point of view as well as MCET point of view. Okay. Right. Next, coming to the stem. So here, so what are the features that distinguish a stem from root? The stem is the ascending part of the axis bearing branches, leaves, flowers and fruits, whereas root is present in the underground portion, and it develops from the plumule of the embryo of a germinating seed. So here above the cotyledon region is known as the epicotyle, and at that region plumule is present, and at the from the plumule shoot is developed. From the radical part root is developed. So here the stem bears nodes and internodes. The stem bears nodes and internodes. So this is a node, this is a node, this is a node, and the space between the two nodes is known as internode. Space between the two nodes is known as a internode. And here the stem bears buds which may be terminal or axillary. The stem bears buds. These buds may be terminal or axillary. So terminal buds means they present towards the apex, apical region. Axillary means lateral side. And stem is generally green when young, and later often become woody and dark brown. So stem young unnappudu green untadi. When it become mature, it changes its color. That is brown color. The main function of the stem is spreading out branches bearing leaves, flowers and fruits. So it conducts water, minerals and photosynthesis. Very important. It conducts water, minerals and photosynthesis. And some stems perform the function of storage of food, support, protection and of vegetative propagation. And here the modification of stem is very important for IPE point of view, that is mentioned in the state syllabus. And here the stem modifications are not mentioned in new NCERT, but in old NCERT we will find some modifications, but even though we have to go through these stem modifications. Now let us discuss about few stem modifications. So here stem is modified to perform different functions other than their main function. What is the main function of stem? It conducts water, mineral and photosynthesis. Okay. What are the other functions of stem? It involved in the storage of food materials, vegetative propagation, etc. Right. So here the stem is modified into three parts. The stem is modified into three parts. That is underground, and aerial and subaerial. So underground stem modification means the stem is modified under the ground. The stem is modified under the soil or under the ground is known as underground stem modification. And aerial stem modification means the stem is modified above the ground. The stem is modified above the ground. And subaerial means the stem is modified partly in air, partly in ground is known as subaerial modification. And in the underground stem modification, the stem is modified to store the food materials, as well as it involves in vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation. Examples for this underground stem modification: rhizome of ginger, rhizome of ginger, and rhizome of turmeric, rhizome of turmeric, and calm of colocasia, and calm of amorphophallus, calm of amorphophallus. So zameen khand, which is also known as zameen khand, and which is the largest inflorescence, that is almost 6 feet height. Okay, and stem tuber of potato, stem tuber of potato, stem tuber of potato, right? Then bulb of onion, bulb of onion. So these are the examples of underground stem modification. So here the stem is modified under the ground to store the food materials, and also helps in vegetative propagation. If you look at into the potato, so you will find some eyes or buds are present on the potato. If you place the potato in the soil, it develops into new individual. So that is nothing but the vegetative propagation. So here examples are rhizome of ginger, turmeric, calm of colocasia, amorphophallus, stem tuber of potato, bulb of onion. And next, aerial stem modifications. Aerial stem modifications. So aerial stem modifications means the stem is modified above the ground. The stem is modified above the ground is known as the aerial stem modification. So here, so thorns, tendrils, stem tendrils, stem tendrils, and phylloclads, and bulbils are the examples of are the modifications of aerial stem modification. Thorns, so citrus and bougainvillea, are the example for the thorns. So here thorn is a straight pointed woody like structure, straight pointed woody like structure is known as a thorn. So here the function of thorn is it mainly involve from the protection from the browsing animals or grazing animals. And the best example for thorns is citrus and bougainvillea, which is also known as paper flower plant. So protection from grazing animals. And tendrils, stem tendrils. So here, so we have two types of tendrils are found in the stem. That is from terminal bud is modified as well as axillary bud is modified. So that is here examples for the stem tendrils. So tendrils are the nothing but they are spirally coiled structures, thin spirally coiled wire-like structures that may be arise from the apical region, or they may be arise from the axillary region. So examples for stem tendrils: watermelon, cucumber, grapevine, watermelon, cucumber, pumpkin, okay, grapevine, watermelon, cucumber, pumpkin, etc. And next, a phylloclad. So here the stem is modified into different structures, that is so fleshy, flat, cylindrical structure, fleshy, flattened, cylindrical structure. So here phylloclad. So flattened stem is found in the opuntia. Opuntia. So flattened stem is found in the opuntia, and cylindrical stem is found in the cylindrical stem is found in the euphorbia. Euphorbia. So these are some of the examples of phylloclads. Phylloclads. And next, bulbils. So here we have two types of bulbils, vegetative and as well as floral. So vegetative or floral. So here that is so this is a vegetative bulbil or bud. So examples for this bulbils, Dioscorea and as well as agave. Dioscorea and agave. So these are some of the important modifications of aerial stem modifications. And next, let us move to the subaerial stem modifications. So here different types of subaerial stem modifications are there. So subaerial stem modifications means so here stem is modified partly above the ground and partly below the ground. So that is, so we have different types: stolons, suckers, runners, offsets. Offsets are some of the examples for subaerial stem modification. Now let us talk about the stolons and suckers. Stolons and suckers. So here the lateral branch of the stem, grows aerially for some time and arches downwards to touch the soil, and develops into new plant. So this arch is known as the stolon. So here the lateral branch of the stem grows aerially for some time and arches downwards to touch the soil. By producing adventitious roots, it develops into new plant. Okay, Nerium and jasmine are the examples. Nerium and jasmine are examples for stolons. And suckers. Come to the suckers. So here the lateral branch of the stem grows beneath the soil horizontally for some time, and by producing adventitious roots, it develops into new plant. Examples for suckers: chrysanthemum, banana, and runners. So the lateral branch of the stem grows for some distance, and by producing adventitious roots, it develops into new plant. And that means here when the branch is spread to the new niche called as new place, and it develops into new plant. And when the new plant is developed, old plant or old part will be die. And offsets are the hydrophytic plants. These are the hydrophytes. So stem is discoid stem is found in the offsets. Example, Pistia eichhornia. So here the leaves are arranged as rosetti of leaves, and here the roots are covered by root pockets, and a tuft of balancing roots are present, right? So here, so examples for runners, oxalis, strawberry, etc. For the offsets, pistia, iconia, which is also known as water hyacinth, that is also known as a terror of Bengal. Okay, right. So this is about the modifications of stem. Now let us look into the structure of leaf. So the leaf is lateral, generally flattened structure that is borne on the stem. It develops at the node. It develops at the node and bears a bud in it axil. The axillary bud later develops into branch. Develops into branch. And the leaves originate from shoot apical meristem from the region of a plumule, and they are the most important vegetative organs of photosynthesis. Leaves are the most important organs of photosynthesis, and the leaves usually arranged in acropetal order. Acropetal order means first initially the leaves are arranged at the borne at the base of the stem and towards the apex, that is known as the acropetal succession or acropetal order. And if you look at into the structure of leaf, so we'll find a lamina, stipule. So this part is known as the petiole. This part is known as the petiole, right? Axillary bud and leaf base. This is the leaf base, okay, and the lamina, midrib. Midrib is a prominent. Midrib is present, right? So a typical leaf consists of three main parts. One is a leaf base, and it may bear two lateral small leaf-like structures called stipules, so which are usually green in color. Stipules are usually so green in color. These are the stipules, okay. And in monocots, the leaf base expands. Very important. In monocots, in monocots, uh, very important. In monocots, the leaf base expands into a sheath covering the stem partially or wholly. That means this is the stem, and here the leaf covers this stem partially or wholly in monocots. In monocots, in some leguminous plants, leaf base. In some leguminous plants, the leaf base may become swollen, which is called the pulvinous leaf base. Pulvinous leaf base. It is very important for the objective as well as IP point of view. So what do you mean by pulvinous leaf base? The swollen leaf base. The swollen leaf base is known as the pulvinous leaf base. Okay. The petiole help the blade to light. So long, thin, flexible petiole allow leaf blades to flutter in wind, thereby cooling the leaf and bring fresh air to surface. So this petiole makes the leaf to flutter in air. It makes the leaf to bring fresh air onto the surface. That means it makes a um, that is cooling, and then cooling the leaf and bringing fresh air to leaf surface, right? The lamina or leaf blade is green expanded part of the leaf, so which bears veins and veinlets. So veins and veinlets. In dicot plants, we will find reticulate venation. In dicot plants, which um, reticulate venation is found. Here that means the arrangement of veins and veinlets in the lamina of leaf is termed as venation. Venation. So that is reticulate venation is found in dicot as well as parallel venation. So this is the reticulate venation, and this is the parallel venation. The veins are arranged parallelly. Okay, in monocots, parallel venation is found in monocot, whereas this reticulate venation found in the dicot plants. Okay, and here the veins provide rigidity to the leaf blade and act as channels of transport of water. So the shape, margin, apex, surface, and extent of incision of lamina varies different types of leaves. So simple leaves, compound leaves, different types of leaves are present. And here if you look at into the types of leaves, we'll find mainly uh, a leaf is said to be simple. A leaf is said to be simple when its lamina is entire or when incised. The incisions do not touch the midrib. The incisions do not touch the incisions. The incisions do not. These are the incisions. These are the incisions. So these incisions do not touch the midrib. Then it is said to be simple leaf. When the incisions of the lamina reach up to the midrib, breaking into number of leaflets, the leaf is said to be compound leaf. So that compound leaf is found in the neem. So here, that midrib is known as the rachis. Rachis. Okay. So here compound leaves are two types: pinnately compound leaf, palmately compound leaf, and the compound leaves may be of two types: pinnately compound leaves as well as palmately compound leaves. So here the compound leaves may be two types: pinnately compound leaf, that is a number of leaflets which are present on a common axis. That common axis is known as the rachis, which represents the midrib of the leaf, that is found in neem. So the scientific name of neem is the Azadi recta indica. And next another one is a palmately compound leaf. Very important. In palmately compound leaf, the leaflets are attached to a common point, that is at the tip of the petiole. That is at the tip of the petiole. So this is the petiole, and the tip of the petiole, number of leaflets are arranged. Number of leaflets are arranged. This is known as the palmately compound leaf. Palmately compound leaf. An example for this palmately compound leaf is a silk cotton. Silk cotton. So that is also known as Bombox seba. Bombox seba. So silk cotton, Bombox seba. Very important for objective point of view. Right. Next, phyllotaxy. So phyllotaxy means nothing but pattern of arrangement of leaves. Pattern of arrangement of leaves on the stem. So here we have different patterns, and here that is so mainly three patterns are there. One is a alternate pattern, another one is a alternate, and another one is opposite, and Horald phyllotaxy. In alternate phyllotaxy, that is a single leaf is raised at each node. So if you look at into this node, a single leaf is attached at each node. This is single leaf, this is a single leaf, this is a single leaf, this is single leaf, single leaf. So alternately arranged. So this type of arrangement is known as the alternate phyllotaxy, and it is found in China rose, mustard, as well as sunflower. So China rose, mustard, sunflower. So alternate phyllotaxy examples: China rose, mustard, and sunflower. You need to remember the family names also. Family names also. China rose belongs to the Malvaceae family, whereas mustard belongs to the Brassicaceae or Cruciferae, and sunflower belongs to the Asteraceae family. Okay. So here next opposite phyllotaxy. So here a pair of leaves arise, a pair of leaf arise at each node and lie opposite to each other, and lie opposite to each other, lie opposite to each other like this, lie opposite to each other. That is known as the opposite phyllotaxy. And examples for this opposite phyllotaxy is Calotropis and Goa. Calotropis, or Calotropis also known as milkweed. So Calotropis and Goa. So next, whorl phyllotaxy. So whorl phyllotaxy means at each node more than two leaves are raised at each node. More than two leaves are raised at each node. More than two leaves are raised at each node. This type of phyllotaxy is known as the whorl phyllotaxy. Example, Alstonia. Alstonia. So very important. Previously asked in the NEET exam. Examples for alternate, opposite, as well as whorl Alstonia, opposite Goa and Calotropis, and alternate China rose, mustard, and sunflower are the examples. Right.